Are you ready to meet the most unique drummer out there? This is going to blow your mind. Jimmy Fulp isn't just any drummer auditioning for Area 51. Nope, this guy's got a face that could double for Bunsen Honeydew from the Muppets. Yeah, you heard that right, but don't let his Muppet-like looks fool you. Jimmy's got some serious skills behind the drum kit. When he's not drumming up a storm, Jimmy's a die-hard wrestling fan. He's got moves that could rival the best in the ring. And let's not forget his love for the LA Dodgers. This guy never misses a game, whether it's at the stadium or on TV. So if you're in the mood for some epic drumming and a personality that's larger than life, Jimmy Fulp is your guy. Stay tuned because this is just the beginning.
Hey, yo!
Look at us, Jeff. We are pretty in pink today.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have Area 51's new pink band shirts. Yes, breast cancer awareness. We'll talk more about the shirt. But hey, welcome to the Rhythm Section in Memphis Music Podcast, where we celebrate the soul of Memphis and North Mississippi music, produced by SRP Studios, podcasting, srpstudiosllc.com.
Catch new episodes every Wednesday morning on Apple and Spotify, and don't miss our video releases at 6 p.m. Central on YouTube and Facebook. For more information, visit therhythmsectionpod.com. I shouldn't have to read that anymore. Should have it memorized.
Just in time for the season to end. We are now streaming on Radio Memphis.
Yeah.
Tune in every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. Central at radio-memphis.com to catch our latest interviews and a special intro segment exclusive to Radio Memphis listeners. Again, Tuesdays at 7:30 p.m. Central, radiomemphis.com. Repeat, radio-memphis.com. And you guys know where to go and what to do. If you want to donate to the show, scroll down, click our Venmo and CashApp links, and send us an early Christmas gift. So, join us for our new TRS Sunday replay series. Not so new anymore.
No.
Next season, we're not going to say new.
No.
We're going to cut it out.
Right.
Each Sunday, we return your favorite interviews in the order they were originally published.
Right now is Fever Tree.
That's right.
Yeah.
The rehearsal space.
Right. This week's replay is Fever Tree Band. Look, if I would have just read, I could have avoided all that. In the rehearsal space, you can catch upcoming replays with Danny Vaughn, one of my favorites, Taiketo, on October the 20th, and Todd Poole, lead singer from Roxy Blue, on October 27th, all on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Take the chance to revisit the highlights and hear from our amazing past guests. Again, every Sunday on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Yep.
Well, everybody, thanks for being here for our season finale. We have a lot to cover, but first, before I continue, as always, the real star of the show, the pedal to my rose, Mr. Jeff Ward. I figured wearing pink, let's have a sweetheart moment.
Not the first time I've been compared to a rose petal.
Shut up, eh?
Trying to squeeze in all the sounds for the finale. All right, so today is part 2, Jeff. Greg Redding,
yes.
Part 2. Let's stay on track with Landslide, because it was so fitting that they have a show in between Greg's episodes.
Absolutely.
How cool is that?
And this is the first time, I hate to even say this, but it's the first time I've ever seen Greg Redding on stage.
Okay.
And the first time I've seen Landslide at Needles.
I saw him years ago with the Memphis All-Stars, but I didn't know.
I probably have too, and didn't realize who it was.
That was when we
were together.
Mark Goodman at
Lafayette,
so I didn't
realize
ago.
I didn't realize at the time who he was.
So we go to the show.
Yes.
So that way it's your first time going. Of course, I'm going to go. And it was perfect because, again, it's in between Greg's interviews. So it just was a perfect situation. And it ended up being such a wonderful night as well.
It was.
But first, Jeff, your first impression, now you've seen the band. What did you think?
Well, I made a post about it yesterday morning because I didn't want to wait. Just incredible. And I'm not a huge Fleetwood Mac listener, so I can't tell you the names of the songs. But I remember the opening song right out of the gate was like 4-part harmonies.
Yeah.
And it was absolutely incredible. And I'm like, yeah, it's going to be a good night.
Yeah.
And it just got better from there. They were amazing.
So we should mention the names.
Yes, that's what I was writing those down while you were talking a while ago. Because there's one name that I want to make sure we mention that you may not think of, but go ahead.
Okay, so Greg Redding, of course. Shocker, right?
Yep.
Davey Dave Smith on bass, Robert Allen Parker, Sarah Spain, Savoya Trainium.
Train them.
You're the only you need one that I need to talk to.
You don't remember my name?
It rhymes with cranium.
See? Trying to squeeze them all in.
Yeah.
And Jeff Birch.
Yes.
Which we're going to be dissecting his playing here in a minute. But so then what name am I missing?
I want to mention Jenna.
Okay.
And I do not know Jenna's last name. I apologize, but she is a student of Greg Redding.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
She was on stage playing rhythm guitar and just doing a fantastic job. And you could tell she just loved being there. And why would you not?
Yeah.
You know, if you're an early musician, I'm not going to say beginner because I don't know how long she's been playing. But obviously, you know, as far as live playing, she told me she's pretty new.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what better outfit to get to hit the stage with to get your confidence up and to make you feel like, hell yeah, I can do this.
Greg told me that she is his protege.
Yeah.
There it is.
There it is.
You know, so that says everything right there. And she looked like she had a great time.
She did.
And then now when Greg goes to the keys,
yeah,
it remains a 2-guitar assault.
Yep.
You know, and then when he's on guitar, now you got 3.
You got 3, and it's really making it thick and filling it up. It's awesome.
Dave and Greg, thank you.
Yep.
For the love you gave us. November was going to be 2 years. So I would have never guessed 2 years ago that we'd be at a place where we just feel part of the family.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I can best explain it. Davey and Greg gave us 2 amazing shout outs. I missed Davey's.
Yeah, you weren't there yet.
I was not there yet. So, but thank you, Davey and Greg.
Yep.
We appreciate your love and support.
And huge thanks to Davey's wife, Delia.
Yes.
She allowed us to sit at her table because I'm an idiot and never call to get a seat. I don't never do that. So it's nice to have people that'll let you sit with them.
And did we not have the best seat in the house?
We did.
We were at that long table centered right with the drums.
Right. You could see all of Davey's Joshini goodness.
I mean, they were all glistening.
Yeah.
Every one of them. So speaking of being lined up with the drums, let's talk about Jeff Birch.
We got to talk about
Jeff fucking Birch.
Yeah. He crushed it.
Man, what a great drummer.
Mm-hmm.
Very unique.
Yep.
What was how did I describe him? Theatrical.
Yeah.
He's a very theatrical drummer.
He's not like me. He doesn't just sit back there and play the freaking song.
Yeah.
He actually is moving around and doing you know, a lot of different things. And these songs also, a lot of these songs from Fleetwood Mac require
tom work.
Yeah, it's more than just 4 on the floor. It's more than just keeping tempo. There's a lot of tom work that's going on, and he stands up to do that. And you know, he's moving around the kit, and it's just he's back there, and it's pretty cool.
Very dynamic band.
Yep.
They know how to go from quiet to loud.
Yes.
Over a 2-minute solo.
Yes.
And really just build. And
I
he's
believe
part
that's
of
called
that.
a crescendo.
Yes. But he's the driving force behind that.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you know, because the way he controls where things are going next and how he elevates, and it gets a little busier, and then he'll break out the double kick, which I'm a total softie for. I love the double kick.
That's fun to hear.
And then with Davey locking in on with him. So, yes, we're going to talk about the rhythm section.
Yeah.
The other people, whatever.
Yeah, guitar players are okay. No, there are no slouches in that band. Robert Allen Parker, good God, man. When he starts to really feel the solo and he moves off the stage and out through the crowd and he's just doing it. And a couple of times I'm like, he's going to fall.
Yeah. Another great performer.
Yes.
He performs up there for sure. And
amazing.
I didn't know that until the first time I played with him live.
Yeah.
Because he didn't obviously do these things at rehearsal.
Right.
You know, holding the guitar up and pointing to the roof, you know. But we played our first Tina show, and then I'm like, oh, okay, this guy's really cool. Next thing I know, he's at the front edge of the stage with his flying V.
Right.
You know, it was awesome. But
amazing.
Great job to all of you. And the ladies up front.
Savoya and Sarah, can't say enough about how amazing they are.
Yeah.
And another cool thing about this project is it's a professional show. Like when it's time for Savoya to do an acoustic, just vocal thing with keys, everyone else leaves the stage and gives her the spotlight.
Yeah, and Sarah jumps on keys several times through the night.
She played every instrument known to man.
You missed last set. She thumped some bass.
Yeah, that's cool.
It was great. It was awesome. And then, again, going back to Greg, the way he obviously his playing, everything about the show, but also let's remember that's his baby. You know, this is the man that started it, had the idea and thought, and all these great players followed suit. And they've been cruising. I think they're about 2 years now, somewhere in there. But
killing it.
We're going to go to their next Lafayette show in November.
Yeah.
I want to hear them in that room next.
And, there's only so many rooms in town that bands like that can play. When you've got 6 or 7 people on stage, you need room.
Yes, absolutely. They could play TJ Mulligan's 64. No problem.
Right there in the corner. That's me in the corner. Okay.
Big REM fan, are you?
Yeah,
They had some hits. They had a few.
Audible real quick.
Sure.
Debbie Jameson, we love you. Saw you there Saturday night, and I know that your son he fell again and has hurt himself, and she's understandably, I think, stressed out, and we're thinking of you and him, and we love you. And,
praying for you. Yes.
And you have my number. Call anytime you need something. Let me know.
Debbie, thanks for a nice hug every time I see you. Yeah. It's like seeing family with Debbie now.
Absolutely.
Thanks to that Tuesday night jam. She's also been on the show. If you want to go to therhythmsectionpod.com, scroll down, you'll find her.
Yep.
Let's talk about the studio real quick, and then break into some thank yous, as we want to do every season finale. We want to reminisce and thank some people.
Right.
Jeff, this is the last film session for the Rhythm Section podcast, and it's an original home.
Yeah.
Boo. Where is it? Where is it? Oh, more like this. And in the effort to play every sound today.
All right.
But it's been great. We're going to be in my dining room next year. Cafe Du Pod.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
The Cafe Du Pod dining room studio.
We need a sign made up.
So the studio was a learning experience, obviously. There's so many positives that I could talk about this studio. Push the negatives to the side. There's plenty of positives as well. But the number one positive, this podcast would not exist if not having this room.
Yeah.
So that's the win, that you and I were able to create this thing and connect with so many great people the way we have. Yeah. And we can't thank the audience enough for all that. And we'll be thanking you again.
Yeah.
It's the wonderful guests that come on here and tell their stories.
Yeah.
So let's jump into that then. Our past guests, we'll do band sponsors. Let's do band sponsors first.
Okay.
How about that? Sean Few, OG band sponsor.
Yeah.
Been here since the episodes back in the 40s. Yeah. Back in the 40s.
Back in the 40s. But it was his idea. You guys came up with that idea, and it's been awesome.
And then the rest of these bands, just because of hearing this, and that was Sean's thought. Maybe it will trigger other bands to want to help.
Right.
And he was spot on, and it did. So Area 51 was next. Yes. So then, our pink shirts. We're wearing the latest Area 51 Memphis band Tease edition.
Right.
In honor of, in celebration of breast cancer awareness.
Yep.
So thank you for doing these, Josh. I texted him before we started to see if he's still selling them. Didn't hear back. Well, let me make one last check. Nope. So okay. I'm not sure if he's still selling them, but send him a Facebook message and ask if you're interested in buying a beautiful pink Area 51 Memphis band T-shirt. Go do it.
Yeah.
Elevation Memphis stepped in. We appreciate all of you. Fever Tree, those guys have been old friends, and they really stepped up and helped us out. Your band, you were a sponsor in kind, right? I didn't make you give me money to do that, but for the time you put in and everything, I was like,
that's all good.
Give Jeff a break.
Sure.
And then past Seeing Red. Special shout out to Chris Craig for also being a big supporter behind the scenes, if you will.
Drummer for Lord Tracy and
Fraser Boulevard. And then Land Divided and Trip Turner a while ago, a couple seasons ago.
Yep.
We did some stuff with for Land Divided and Jacob Turner music.
Right.
But that was all Dad. Trip Turner made that happen. Yep. I don't even know if Jacob really knew. No, he did. It goes without saying to the bands, thank you.
Yes.
It's more than the sponsorship revenue dollars that come in. It helped for sure, but it's just the thought that you would step up and help us help you. That full circle community feel was there for many, many, many episodes because of our band sponsors. So thank you for what you do, the amazing talents you are, and the entertainment you give us is top notch. So thank you.
Yes.
Now let's move to the guests, Jeff. You want to read off a few here?
Yeah, sure. I'll take a couple of these. Eric Stone, best dressed guest we've ever had.
Alain Bonet shoes.
Alain Bonet. Yeah, vocalist for the Deb Jam Band. You can see him Tuesdays. Just an incredible performer. Carlos Echoes. Love him, man. The Carlos Echoes Band. What does he go by on Carlos Guitarlos?
That's right.
On Facebook. Yeah. Jim Peterick. That was a huge get for us, man.
Yes, that was over the phone. Of course, he is from the Ides of March and formerly of Survivor.
And Tommy Cathy. If you've been around this Memphis music scene any time at all, you know who that guy is.
Yeah.
Huge history. 3
big names, Almost Famous, Target, and DeGarmo and Key.
Yeah.
And he covers all of them well. And fun guy, really nice guy.
Jeffrey Corrin. I took that one because I knew you'd mispronounce it.
Thank you.
And now you can pick up.
So Jeffrey Corrin
there you go. Good
is
job.
a guitarist for Roxy Blue.
Yes.
We just mentioned Chris Craig. Yep. He and Kinley Wolf came to the studio for Fraser Boulevard, releasing their new album. So it was interview number 2 for Chris. Well, for both, but Chris was in the studio for both. First time, Kinley was on the phone.
Yeah.
This time, he came all the way up from Dallas, Texas to be in the studio with us. So that was exciting. And we cover every track on the album. It was a very unique interview in this season. Right. None other like it, where we dissect a full album of original songs from original artists. So it was a good time. Thomas Halfacre.
Yes.
I hope you're feeling better, Thomas.
Yeah, I haven't seen any post from him lately on Facebook, and that doesn't necessarily mean he's not doing it. It just sometimes it just won't come across your feed or whatever. But
I can't remember what show, but he popped out to, I believe, Neil's one night and posted about it to go see. I think it was the Scott Sudbury original set. Okay.
Cool.
I think that's when he went.
Well, if he's getting out and about, then surely he's feeling better. Thomas, we love you, man. Thanks for coming on the show. And, what you went through there, it sounds like it sucks pretty bad.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're better.
And, of course, he's from Halfacre Audio and Lighting, or that's his business. The man behind the KISS show, as far as visually. And we go in depth about the KISS sign.
Right.
That was a very important piece of the puzzle. Jeff Adams. Yeah. Man, what a pleasure having him in here, but it's also been a pleasure getting to know him because of Donna and Jimmy.
Yeah. Hey, yo.
I've become, we have become friends with Jeff because they're very close and we see Jeff at their house a lot. So good times there. Talks about Starship, Jimmy Jameson, Survivor, all those fun things. Then Jason Luckett and Taylor Morris from 5 for the Kill.
Yeah.
Jason's the guitar player. Taylor is the drummer. We have one left. We had Brad and Brian a season ago.
That's right.
Now we got Zach.
Yep.
We got to get Zach in next year.
We will.
And then we'll be done with the band. We'll never talk about him again.
Frankie Holly and the Noise. They are Jeff Cobble plays guitar with them. I can't remember the name.
The drummer from Drum Shop.
Bill Frazier plays drums, and then there's, I think, Taylor McManus, female, that sings with him too.
I can't think of the bass player's name. Sorry.
God dang it, we do this all the time. But anyway, the great band. Frankie's been doing this for a long time too. They play modern country and other. They do rock and roll and stuff like that mixed in as well. Paulie Moreau, we love you, Paulie. Paulie, yeah, absolutely. Man, guitars and vocals for Thump Daddy and Rock the Boat. And another one of those guys that's behind the scenes doing a lot of things that you don't even know about.
Absolutely. We talk about the KISS show. We talk about the Tommy Awards. Not only his hand in it, but we talk about Tommy himself.
Right.
Because I was curious about who this guy is, you know. And there was the Stage Stop reunion. We cover that. I might be missing one, but he's the man organizing all of these things. So thanks to you, Paul, for doing that. Keith Blanchard, bassist and vocalist for Grand Theft Audio, and guru,
and also a jack of all trades. He runs sound. He does all that stuff too, and again, doing things probably behind the scenes you don't even realize.
Phil and Raleigh Hartzell from Play Rough, a classic Stage Stop band.
Right.
Of course, our friend Jimmy Falp played the drums with them. So great stories. Again, we got more stories about Stage Stop.
And those guys, I mean, they rattled off project after project that they've done and created, and they are really good at creating a brand.
Yes.
Like they don't just throw together a band. It's an all-out effort to really get people in and hooked and get them on the dance floor.
And we covered all of them.
Yep.
Robert Allen Parker.
Yeah.
Landslide, Trouble No More, Play Me Some Skinner, Elevation Memphis, and the Elevation Memphis Tina Turner Tribute Experience. The man is busy.
Just a little.
But there's a reason why he gets the calls.
Yep.
Telling you that dude
he's a player.
Amazing.
Yep.
Gene Nunez, guitarist and vocalist for the Deb Jam Band, and several other things he does. You know, he's fun. And he says shizzle in the interview. Check that out.
He's one of those guys that can play anything. Because when he and Deb do their two-person deal on Tuesdays before the full band takes the stage, they're using some tracks, and they are playing every song you can possibly think of under the sun. I hear stuff that I haven't heard in 30 years that they pull out and do, and he just plays it effortlessly.
I was hanging out with Davey Smith outside in the back of Neil's the night they played.
Right.
And Gene came up, and unprompted, John
You don't remember my
You don't remember, then you need one I need to talk
to. All right, that takes care of all of it.
Davey talks about the same thing when it comes to Gene, photographic memory. So there, that's what I tried and attempted to say. Angela Burton.
Everyone's favorite chocolate lesbian.
Yes. If you want to see her fingernail explode, go check out her interview. But no, she's a great vocalist. Does a lot of the acoustic stuff with Bob Boscia. Great and fun. Check her out. And then here we are back to Greg
Redding.
Here's what's great. Later in the intro here, we're going to be revisiting the blooper reel.
Yeah. And now we're going to have some for next year.
Oh,
already.
my goodness. Audience, thank you for putting up with my speaking out of the gate.
It's early for Derek. I've been awake for quite some time.
I'm struggling this morning.
I agree.
God forbid it's 10 a.m. Monday morning. It's too early for me. Jeff, like Saturday night was such a validating night. And I don't want to make this about us, but part of what we do is to connect with y'all out there. Bring people together, if you will. Introduce bands to people that may not have heard of the bands. Just trying to spotlight the community. And when people approach us and thank us, it's a good feeling.
Well, you used the exact correct term, validating.
Yeah.
I mean, we put a lot of time into doing this. This is not something that happens in 15 minutes every week.
Yeah.
And to get that validation and for people to notice, it matters.
And listening, I had two people, strangers.
Right.
And I'm sorry, I forgot all of your names.
Yeah.
You don't remember my name?
Some sounds get more than one play today. Yeah. They asked me about the studio and the fact we're moving out. And I appreciate that. That's very sweet of you. But that means they were paying attention and listening. And that's really shocking that they sit through us.
Because we don't.
They sit through this bullshit here.
We go to Jimmy and Donna's for a watch party, and we do not pay attention. We've already done it. So we're in the background eating and just kind of screwing off while everybody else watches. But thanks to everybody for the validation.
And the growth of it, foundation, stories from the amazing guests we just listed off.
Yeah.
but then it's you, the audience, that helps push it out with shares, likes, comments,
Yep.
the whole bit.
And I mentioned this, I think, once on the last episode. I think there were about 5 of you guys that we had to cancel for this year. You will be the first 5. You'll be the first 5 I reach out to starting next year. I've got a list. And hopefully you're good to go and you want to still come and do it. But we're sorry. I apologize for having to do that. It just it happened and there wasn't anything we could do about it.
You have an open seat.
Yeah.
At Cafe du Pod.
Right.
Next year.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
Potluck, bring some food. And I don't have my food license yet.
Right.
At Cafe du Pod.
Yeah, I don't have my list with me, but there were about 5, and I can think. I know that Jonas and Leslie Palmer were one of the ones we had to cancel, and man, I was looking forward to getting them in here because they just seemed like so much fun.
Doug McMinn was on there.
Under the Radar was one of them.
Yes,
we love all you guys, and we're sorry that we had to do that. And hopefully next year after the holidays, you'll be willing to come back in or come in and do it.
And one last time to the audience, thanks for being there for us and hanging out, and much more content coming your way during our off season. You know, the Sunday replays are going to continue to plow on, and then we get this Radio Memphis thing. All right, I know this is going to be a long one, everyone, but hang in there with us. We still have some more fun ahead of us. But first, let's talk Radio Memphis, where the planet tunes in to hear what Memphis sounds like. Start your day with In the Morning with Rick and Monica from 9:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central for a wild ride of fun segments like News from the Stupid, That Guy, This Guy, Crime Time, and more. Please groove to music straight from the Mid-South.
Yeah, and don't miss out on the Rhythm Section, a Memphis music podcast, every Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. for the latest and greatest interviews. You know where to go, radio-memphis.com.
Area 51 brought to you by Joshine Pickup Wax, the magical goo that will transform your guitar tone from Feldman to magnificent. Area 51 will smoke your eardrums with that special Joshine Pickup Wax by covering artists such as Starship, Van Halen, Peter Gabriel, and Huey Lewis in the News. So, Friday, October 18th, Horseshoe Casino, 9 p.m. Saturday, October 19th, Collierville Fall Fest, 1 p.m. Saturday, the 19th, Horseshoe again at 9 p.m. And then Sunday, November 10th, the Kitchen and the Cross benefit.
Very well done.
No, it wasn't. The Kitchen and the Cross benefit at Hadley's. Follow Area 51 on Facebook at Area 51 Memphis.
And Sean Few, man, like we said, he's been here since the beginning on this thing. Saturday, November 9th, that is formerly known as at Neil's Music Room. Sunday, November 10th, 6 Feet Thunder, the Kitchen and the Cross benefit at Hadley's. Saturday, November 16th, formerly known as at Hadley's. Sunday, November 17th, the Lost 45s at Hadley's. That's another band I have not made it out to see yet that I have to have on my list.
They're great.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. Saturday, November 30th, formerly known as at Dan McGinnis, South Haven. Love to Seth Kirkendall, Trouble No More, Tribute. Why did I read that way? I'm an idiot. I'm just...
You're the only you need one that I need to talk to.
Anyway,
Shut up, eh?
sorry, Seth. I screwed that up. Trouble No More, a tribute to the Allman Brothers at Neil's Music Room on Friday, November 29th. Follow Sean on Facebook at Sean.few.7.
Shut up, eh?
That was so much fun.
I was doing so good.
Elevation Memphis is a versatile band that covers various musical genres, including country, R&B, blues, classic soul, pop, and classic rock. I can't wait for the blooper reel to come back. The band is currently working on finishing its album. To help raise funds, they have a consignment store that offers everything from home decor to the latest fashion brands. For booking, shopping, and social media, please visit elevationmemphis.com. That was such a fun series of sounds.
It's a Generation X. We are the band that brings alternative music from the 90s and 2000s. Saturday, October 19th at the Collierville Fall Fest. 10 a.m. start time. I think for the last 3 weeks we've been telling you 11 a.m.
We did.
But yeah, it's 10 a.m. for us. There'll probably be 3 of you there.
It's still brunch with Gen X.
Saturday, October 19th. That'll be a 9 p.m. start time at Dan McGinnis. So this is the first time that we've played twice in one day. I don't know if I can take it.
Will you survive this, Jeff?
Friday, October 25th at Sidecar Memphis, and Thursday, October the 31st at Sidecar South Haven. That's a Halloween shindig. Wear your costume. I have seen Kevin Cost has got one hell of an outfit that he's going to be wearing.
Will you be wearing one?
I will have a wig and a little bit of
a
little bit of something going on.
Fever Tree, a Memphis-based rock band, draws deeply from its southern roots to create a powerful and soulful blend of southern rock, blues, funk, and gritty rock and roll. You can check out albums Social Mediocrity and Lessons Learned on Spotify and all other digital platforms, along with singles Mighty Jesus and Buried Alive. Learn more about Fever Tree at fevertreeband.com. And Jeff, you have a special announcement.
I do. So stop what you're doing and pay attention. Fever Tree they've been together for 10 years. This is their 10-year anniversary. And they will be playing Neil's on November the 1st. The start time is 8 p.m. And Gen X will be opening for those guys. I'm extremely excited about that and looking forward to it. So please, there's a $10 cover. Come on out, support original Memphis rock and roll. Bam.
We don't have any more sponsors to read, but I still need to end with the music.
Absolutely.
Okay, this next segment here.
The note says bloopers, so this shit's about to get real.
And very fitting considering what you just heard. Going back to Saturday night, we met a lot of wonderful people that were very generous with their thoughts to us about the show, but were very new members, thanks to the Greg Redding interview. I say that because they may have missed the first time we played our blooper reel.
Right.
I've added a few since that time. It's in there. So to the old, have fun reliving these. Right. And to the new fans, please enjoy our blooper reel here. 3-minute ego.
30-minute ego. 3 minutes, 30 minutes.
My reading wasn't too bad.
No, you did awesome. You just took mine.
I just still fucked up. And then it looks like the McMinn
family reunion.
You'll need a strong dose of family reunion.
Fuck, I knew. Nation. It was electronica. I didn't even know that was a word.
So that's kind of the what's what I'm looking for. Second time in. Now a special feature in our intro.
Special?
So. Special.
What happens when you
yeah. 10 tickles. So first, we're going to throw in something new and special here because we have Kitchen on the Cross coming up. We got the Lost 45s playing the songs you forgot to love, formerly known as the new phenomenon.
You need I need to talk to
the new phenomenon set. Oh, sorry. I can't do it today.
And Lessons Learned on Spotify and all other digital Spotify
by covering artists such as Peter Gabriel, The Cars, Kansas, and Audiograph.
Autograph.
I love Audiograph.
7 p.m. at Hometown Headliners. I need to add that. Your date.
That's right.
Did I say that for you?
I'm glad that's over.
But we also have a keyboard player. I always forget about the keyboard players.
That's the new Paul Moreau sound.
Original recording, there's a lower harmony, or what am I trying to say? Unison. That's what I needed.
Jeff.
Yes.
Almost Famous.
That's right. Yep. You want me to elaborate?
I want you to talk. Like it, hey, we have 20s of listeners in parts of known.
Yeah.
Parts of known.
Parts of known.
Whoa. Oh my goodness. Man, we are idiots.
I'm glad that's over. I couldn't take much more. Woo! There was a lot of Sean Few in there too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. He was just as terrible as we are.
He came in for a special intro for some dad jokes, and it just turned into such a shit show. It was so
next
much
season,
fun.
we have to make that a more regular occurrence.
Yeah.
The dad jokes. We got to get him in here.
All right, we're finally here, everybody.
Well,
this is what we call the guest talk up. This interview really goes to some fun places.
Yeah.
He's played with legends like Chuck Berry, Albert King, and Bo Diddley. And at the beginning of the intro, we addressed the fact that we didn't know the intro of this interview. We didn't know what the hell we talked about.
Right.
He came back in 6 weeks later from the first one, and like the unprofessionals we are, we never watched or listened to the interview.
Right.
So we established that at the front end, and we do pretty good until the very end when we start talking about Landslide again. And ladies and gentlemen, you're going to get the origin story for a second time. Verbatim.
Deja vu.
Hey, and it's all good. They've earned 2.
Yeah, for sure.
They're awesome. So you get a second chance if you missed it. Yeah, you want to take the next ones?
No, not really.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, yeah!
Because I wasn't following along and don't know where you were. So.
Black Oak, Arkansas is
Yeah.
a fascinating conversation in this interview because he goes into the business dealings.
Yeah.
Which I love it.
Yeah.
I love when someone's open to talk about these things.
And those things aren't always rosy.
No.
You know.
And I'm always curious about how much people make and made
Yeah.
and back in the day and
Or how little.
right, but these are things you don't just straight up ask.
Sure.
He delivered everything we wanted for that, and it's a great insight. It's a great, peeling the curtain back on how the music business can operate and how difficult it can be.
He talked about his time at Tanner. That's an outfit you'll hear Debbie Jameson talk heavily about, and other people in other interviews. Struggles with drugs, followed by a great story of not drugs and God.
Yes. So, he's wide open and vulnerable about it. The conversation landed there organically.
Yeah, we didn't ask. We don't pry on these types of things.
But I love it because I love that he was vulnerable and open to share that, which is common in anyone in recovery. Part of the deal is talk about it. So I'm sure it's going to help a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, it has a very happy ending. You brought up the Memphis Horns.
Well, I think he brought up Tora Tora first.
Possibly.
I'm such a huge fan of that band. And I know that they worked with the Memphis Horns on their second record. So maybe that's how that came. I haven't seen the editing that you did, so I forget. Yeah. But I think that's probably how that came up. And went off the deep end on a topic of AI.
Yeah, we couldn't contain ourselves.
Because that's a real thing, and it's not going away.
Yes. I jumped on that stump and soapbox. Unfortunately for everyone, that's going to have to watch and listen.
And of course, the story about School of Rock, how Landslide was formed, which that intertwines, with School of Rock and all the teachers. And it must be nice to just be able to walk down the hall and go, hey, you, and you, let's do this.
Absolutely. And then we break into Free World.
Yeah.
He's starting to work with Richard Cushing, which, man, we got to get him on the show. The more I learn, the more I realize that Free World's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And we need to go see them play and meet Richard. So, holy shit, Jeff. Did we make it?
Yeah, we made it.
Oh,
and
my
we're
God.
sorry. We know that's longer than usual. That's what she said.
Oh!
And
For you.
okay.
And for me. Just kidding. Remember to join us for our exclusive TRS Sunday Replay series. We bring back your favorite interviews on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify every damn Sunday.
Yeah, and thank you to our band sponsors who we listed earlier. That you guys are amazing, and we can't do it without you. And find us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, and all channels at therhythmsectionpod.com.
And don't forget to check us out every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m., radio-memphis.com. You
Man,
can go check that one out. And also, if you're feeling a little generous and want to donate some pennies to us, we would love it.
Yeah.
And you can do so by going to Venmo and CashApp, the Rhythm Section Pod on either app. And, we would love to hear from you while we're gone for a little while. So please join everybody else.
Yeah.
And email us.
Been so many.
The Rhythm Section Pod 2022 at gmail.com. All right, y'all. Look, it's been a pleasure.
Yes.
This has been a interesting season. but we sure had a lot of fun with it. And we can't wait to come back next year. It's just going to be a new chapter. Change the show up a little bit, try some new things. It'll be fresh and smell like laundry and trash.
Cafe du Pod.
Cafe du Pod. I don't even know how to say goodbye here. How can we ultimately wrap up this new season or this latest season?
I think we've done enough.
Are there any sounds I missed?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Great Scott!
I don't think
I
I
don't
heard
know
that
if
one.
we got that one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think we got them all
We need some new sounds.
for good measure.
Hey, yo!
To our dear friends.
Absolutely.
You know what? This is how we're going to end it. One last time. Jimmy Fault,
Hey, yo!
Sean Few. Gave us this beautiful music. That's how we're going to do it.
That's it.
All right, everybody, go see a band. And we'll see y'all next time. Take care.
Thanks.
Oh, and enjoy our interview with the one, the living legend, Mr. Greg Redding. Thank you all. All right, everybody, round number 2 with Mr. Greg Redding. Yes, welcome back, sir.
Thank you for having me.
And as we were just discussing in the pre-interview here, we have no idea what we talked about this last episode. It was filmed several weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we might overlap a few things, but we did put together a list of things that we know we didn't.
Gotcha.
You think we would have been smart enough to make some notes about what we talked about?
Well, I just didn't get to the editing yet.
Yep.
Cool.
But we are here
Here he is.
to talk more Greg Redding,
Oh, God.
because you have plenty to talk about.
It's been a long ride.
That's right, because when we wrapped up the last interview, I was like, man, want to do another one?
Sure. Yeah. We may wind up doing that chapter 3 of.
And then he sent us an invoice we had to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Move that mic. There.
It's expensive.
Oh, we want to hear your voice, Greg.
Okay. Thank you.
You came in with some ideas on things to talk about, and we felt like a good place to start was your Black Oak, Arkansas years.
Right. Okay.
So when did you join them?
That was in 76. And basically what had happened was their manager had shown interest in the hot dogs, right? So he knew.
I do remember talking about the hot
Yeah.
dogs.
And
You can't forget that name.
yeah, I mean, really. And that was, we don't even,
The hot dogs and the mustards.
a band you're sure you'll relish.
Oh, that's right.
But I was sitting in the lobby at Arden Studios, and he walked through and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm on food stamps and making $65 a week." He said, "You want to audition for Black Oak, Arkansas?" I said, "Tell me more." He goes, "Well, it's $10,000 a year," which in 1976 was not a bad chunk of change, especially if you're on food stamps. You know, that sounds good. So I said, "Sure." So I tried out. And I was under the impression that the original guys, all of who I was friends with, had just gotten tired of being in the band. They wanted, to rest. Those guys toured endlessly,
Yeah.
Come to find out, it was a little more suspect than that. There were some problems with how the money was going to be split up and things like that. So all of a sudden, me and Holder, Andy Tanis, and Joe Williams, all 4 Memphis guys, we're scabs, basically.
So the original founding members fell apart.
All
'cause-
except for Jimmy Henderson, who was actually the second guitar player to come, and he took Harvey Jett's place after Harvey became a Christian and became a preacher.
Yeah.
But they had fired Ricky Lee, but then Stanley and Pat and Tommy Aldridge, who I had the pleasure of doing one short tour with. My God, what a drummer.
Yeah.
Incredible. So as I got there, I'm enamored. Okay, I'm now a certified rock star. I got a tour bus. I'm doing big stadiums and arenas and stuff. So I'm not really thinking too much about what I've gotten myself into until they hand me the contract.
Okay.
And basically, if I invented a better mousetrap, they got it. It was all their money. Yeah. Anything I did. Union sessions, there was a thing back then called the Record Manufacturers Trust Fund check, which every year around August you would get a check that was contributed into by whoever you had done sessions with. And mine had gotten up to several $1,000s. But that was all before I joined Black Oak. Well, all of a sudden, I am obligated to turn it over to management. And I'm thinking,
all of it?
All of it.
Yeah.
Why?
No, thank you.
It's in the contract. They took my publishing. But, that's a familiar story for the fact you're 25, 26 years old, and you're getting a chance to get in the game.
Yeah.
You can ask any guy that's been to that level, Springsteen, Billy Joel, all of them, they signed their lives. So the Beatles signed all their music away early on. That's how you get, that's the entrance fee, basically. So then we got signed. They'd been with MCA. Jack and I did a couple of overdubs on their last MCA record. And then we got signed to Capricorn, which I thought was pretty cool. Allman Brothers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So we went down to Macon, Georgia to Capricorn Studios, and they hired a producer. Now, we're a rock band, okay, and a good rock band. I mean, the fact that Andy, Tanis, Joe Williams, and Jack and I, all Memphis boys, we were bringing the heat,
Mm-hmm.
Well, all of a sudden, we meet this guy, and I'm no sense mentioning their names, but his only claim to fame was he had produced the first 2 Jackson 5 records and worked for Motown. I mean, that's not bad, but that ain't rock and roll.
Right.
So all of a sudden, we're a rhythm section backing up a singer. The guitar sounds are thin and not happening. Nothing was right about it at all. And this was the Race with the Devil album. And it actually, I found out later on, sold 500,000 records. So it was actually a certified gold. I never got the record for it, but...
No credit on it?
Well, I got my name and stuff, but
no
I
mechanical
never
royalties.
saw a dime from songwriting. Well, and see, we weren't royalty artists.
Yeah.
We were hired sidemen.
But then even as a hired sideman, you gave up rights to other things.
Yeah. And that's why it was what it was. And I started realizing real fast, this ain't a good deal.
Was there a length of time on this contract? Were you bound for X amount of years?
7.
7 years?
Wow.
Damn.
But there was, to find out later, an escape clause, which is what got me out of it. It was a graduated salary from $10,000 to $12,500, so forth and so on. After every 2 years, money went up a little bit, right?
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, even at $10,000, I was living well,
Yeah.
And plus on the road, you got $200 a week or so for per diem, so that helped that stuff. But we got into the studio, and it wasn't what I envisioned. Okay, the sound, the final product wasn't a bad album. Like I said, it sold quite well, unbeknownst to me until later on when Andy told me about it. But we went out and toured a lot, and then all of a sudden we went back for a second, which was the I'd Rather Be Sailing album. This is when I knew the boat was sinking. If anybody ever listens to that record, there's disco songs on this record. Okay. It's very middle of the...
Black Oak, Arkansas, disco.
And
I got to check that out.
I mean, we were basically told we're going middle of the road. Okay. And I'm thinking, how far into the middle of the road are we going to go? So I started testing the water with songs I was writing. And I wrote this one song called Daydreams that Barry Manilow wouldn't have cut. It was so cheesy. And they went, that's perfect. And I went, oh, crap.
So did they use it on the album?
Oh, it's on the album.
Did you get any kind of publishing
I
on
never
that?
received one dime. Another thing that happened was when we went in for the second album, Jack and I were in a hotel room one day, and we got a phone call from the local union. And they said, just by chance, are you guys royalty artists? And we went, nope. He said, well, here's a new rule. You get a session for every 4 hours you're in the studio.
You get a session?
Check, like a union session.
Okay.
So at that point, Jack and I were right around $8,000 to $10,000 coming to us. And management came to us and said, you have a choice, keep your job or give us the money back. So we had to go to the union and sign over all those checks to management.
Man.
And that's when I started realizing, this is...
This sucks.
I'm starting to feel a little pain around my derriere,
Even if you were to get a little side gig, you even had to give all of that over.
When we did Midnight Special, I had to give them the after check that I got from them back there to them. To
so you got your salary and that was
it.
Yeah.
Nothing.
But were you allowed to do outside projects?
Didn't really have time. First of all, we're
Okay.
sitting on top of a mountain, so there's no place to really go.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, well, here we are. And finally, what finally came to fruition was we were due some money, a raise, and they came to us and said, we can't pay your raise. And I said, escape clause, escape clause.
That was the clause that.
Well, I mean, it's breach of contract.
Right.
You owe
Yes,
me
of course.
you owe me $12,500 a year, and you're saying you can't pay it to me, but you'll give me a free place to live.
Yeah. So that was your out.
Yeah,
And you got out immediately.
I went. Let me. They had that meeting. This is a fact. I had gotten off the mountain because I got tired of the whole compound thing. You know, living behind the big fences. I actually never lived back there because I didn't like having to get out and open this gigantic gate in the middle of the wintertime. Plus, you couldn't have friends behind the gate. Like, and I got to know all the neighbors, man, because people had jet skis and jet boats, and I was like, you know. So I walked out of there, got in my car. I lived down in Gassville, Arkansas, which is about 20 miles south. Went directly to the U-Haul store, rented a truck, loaded my shit, and left that day. Went back to Memphis.
Did you have to get a lawyer or anything?
Oh, I didn't have to. There was no way around this. This was, you know. So when I got home, I'm sitting there, and that's when Jack had already left, and Jimmy in Target had kind of disbanded because they went through that. Those guys really got screwed because if you ain't got any money, see, it was a Colonel Tom Parker deal.
Yeah.
If you got $150,000 record deal, management took $75,000 of it immediately,
Half.
and then you paid for the record out of your half, studio
Oh, my
charges and
God.
all that stuff. These guys were traveling in a Winnebago, staying at the crummiest motels. And I mean, and the thing about Jimmy, he didn't have to do that because he was making so much money singing jingles, man. I mean, the guy was the most recorded singer in the history of jingles. I mean, obviously, I mean, what a voice, right?
Yeah.
And so that thing broke up. So when I came back to town, Jack had already left about a month before that. And we got together. I said, man, you know, the one thing we've always wanted to do was you and Jameson and I putting a band together because that's magic.
Yeah.
And it was. I mean, it was unbelievable.
And that was, what was the name
Justice.
of that? Justice.
Yeah. And so we started gigging around, and I mean, immediately, I mean, it was kind of like the Landslide thing. It just immediately took off, right?
Yeah. So how long were you in Black Oak before you rolled out?
I joined in 76 and left late 79.
Okay, so now we're talking 79, 80. When,
Yeah, it was early 80. Yeah, it was late 79.
Okay.
And so we put the band together, and without fail, management shows up.
I know where this is going now.
And they wanted to sign us back up. In fact, when Jack and I went to pick management up, I'm not going to mention any names because it's a best left untouched, you know.
Yeah.
So we're in the car coming from the airport to the hotel, and management says, I'm dependent on you guys to get Jameson back on contract with me. So I'm thinking, oh, God, here we go again. So we had a big meeting, and I said, fellas, we got something special here. Let's don't give it away to the first guy that knocks on the door. Let's see what else might be out there, because I think we got something that could really be something. Well, for some reason, Jack and Jimmy thought, no, we're going to go ahead and sign. I said, ain't going to happen. So when I left, it became Cobra.
Okay.
All right. And management brought in these two guys from Sweden. Okay. And why Jack Holder was delegated to play rhythm guitar behind this candy-ass kid from Sweden was mind-boggling. I couldn't understand it.
What a candy ass.
Oh, I mean, these guys, I mean, they were okay, but anyway, but they were, so I backed out. They did the Cobra thing, and of course, they're staying in YMCAs on the road because they can't afford hotel rooms because management took half the money.
And Jimmy already knew this going back into it.
I said, fellas, I still can't tell the difference between a fart and a yawn, and I've only been out for 3 weeks, and you guys are wanting to go back in for a double dose, you know? I mean, I had stretch marks around the rear end forever, man.
Whoa. I mean, oh, shit. Damn.
So And you understand, Jack and Jimmy were two of my dearest friends in life. Jack was my best man at my wedding. I mean, Jack and I grew up together. I love that man with all my heart and soul. And the same way with Jameson. But I got a great big I told you so moment later on when they finally...
I'm still trying to wrap my head around a fart and a yawn. It's going to take a minute for me to recover.
I'm prolific in both.
Yeah. Well, when you can't tell the difference, that means something's been hurt. Okay.
Sorry, I interrupted.
No. So when they came back, we were at Solomon Alfred's down on Overton Square, and we were sitting at a table, and I said, look, I love both y'all, but I got to say this. I told you so. And so
sometimes that just needs to be said.
I told them on the front, I said, guys, this is not a good idea. But they did it. God bless them both. I love them dearly. They're brothers of mine.
Sure.
So when that fell apart, I got a call from my friend Van Duren. I'm sure you all know who Van is, right? Mm-mm. Oh, my gosh. Look him up. Van's a singer-songwriter, guitar player, keyboard player extraordinaire, had a couple of solo albums out. The voice of an angel.
Okay.
All right. And he called me and said, man, let's put a band together. I said, yeah, I'm a huge fan. I'd love to. So we put a band together. And it was funny. We couldn't think of a name to save our lives. We were rehearsing one night. And a friend of ours walked in and goes, this is good. What are y'all calling it? And I went, good question. He said, that's a great name.
There it is.
And I went, that is a great name. So it became Good Question. And a lot of your listeners will know exactly who I'm talking about. I mean, it was, and if I only stayed for a short while because I decided it was time to be a drug addict for a while. So I was too busy burning my brain cells.
At this point here with Good Question?
Yeah. I had gotten introduced to this white powder that they said wasn't addicting.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that in a minute.
I'm familiar.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, it led me to a life-changing decision, which... Anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. So that all was going down. But at the same time, I had talked my way into the Tanner Company.
Okay.
All right. And you got to realize the musicians in that company were all cats with degrees, bachelor's, master's, whatever, in theory, composition. I mean, these are like Sam Shoup, Tom Leonardo, Tony Thomas. That was the younger guys. And then they had all these older cats that were from the Stan Kenton, Guy Lombardo era, big band guys. Right?
Okay, yeah.
And, I mean, it was nothing to be in the studio with a 5-piece rhythm section and 12 horns.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they're throwing these charts at us that are, I mean, these are the real stuff.
And they expect you to knock it out, take one.
Well, my gift was I knew all my chords because my stepmother was the copyist for this company. What that means is she would take the master scores of the writers and break it down instrument by instrument.
Right.
Okay. So she also had a master's degree in composition and piano and theory and all this stuff. So she sat me down and explained the ABCs of chord structure, which I took to for some reason. I mean, me and chords just get along real well. I love chords. Chords are great. And so, and plus my wife was head of the production department. She was booking all the sessions, the studio time. She knew where all the musicians were. She knew who was sleeping.
So you had a leg up going into this. For
and
sure.
That opened the door for me, no doubt. But
still an ass kicking.
If you don't do something when you get that door open, you're gone.
Yeah.
Okay, it's that simple. If I wasn't cutting it, no matter who I'm married to or who my stepmom was, it wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
But I was the rock guy, okay? And they didn't have a rock guy on staff.
Okay, so that was enticing to them.
Yeah, they needed somebody that knew how to use all those stupid pedals on the floor. Great example. Okay, there was a guy, old school writer named Joe D, okay? Joe DiRagimo or something like that. New York Italian, okay? He calls me for an overdub session one day. And I'm thinking to myself, what is possibly going to happen here? So I walk in, set my gear up, and he gets on the top. He goes, hey, Greg, you ever heard of this guy, Pete Townsend? Mm-hmm. I said, yeah, Joe, I know who Pete Townsend. He goes, I thought you would. Okay, I need you to sound like Pete Townsend. I said, great. Open the chart. It's in B flat. There are no open strings in B flat. So
you'd have to tune down, right?
I tuned up.
Up, yeah.
You know, so A went to B flat, and I pulled that one off. And then the second chart, he goes, hey, Greg, you ever heard of this guy, Eric Clapton? I said, yeah, Joe D, I know who Eric Clapton is. I thought so. I need you to sound like Eric Clapton. It's an F. I'm already tuned up, so I'm good to go, you know. But that was the weird thing about the generational combinations down there, you know. And
they were leaning on the current guys to give example to.
Well, they're like, all he knew is he needed a guitar that sounded like these two guys. Now, he's a horn player, so everything's in F, B flat, E flat, A. I mean, they're all flat cats, you know, sharps and flats. And then there was other guys like Sam Shoop, who is honestly the most amazing musical mind, player, writer, arranger I've ever known in my life. Mm-hmm. This guy is off the chart. He's now in the jazz department at the University of Memphis, and rightfully so.
Pretty sure that Debbie Jameson talked about him when we
she
interviewed
was
her.
huge in Tanner. Right?
Yeah. Oh, that's you know. And let me tell you, in 1980, it was paying $50 an hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
No shit.
Yeah. So that was like, you know, I was making $20,000 a year, working 3 days a week, just doing overdubs and sessions and stuff. It was great, you know.
Yeah.
So
all that extra money for some of that other stuff you found.
Well, and and I mean, I unfortunately got deep into the middle of all that stuff, as a lot of people did.
Yeah.
And by the time, like, I went 6 or 7 years at Tanner, then Tanner got sold, and it became a whole different thing, and it started falling apart. And I was knee deep into chemical dependence, class 101, and wasn't getting calls anymore. Mm-hmm. You know, the word was out on the street. He's not dependable.
Reputation.
Oh, hey, let me tell you. You know, it only takes a couple of negative comments for this phone to stop ringing, right? And I had reached a low point in my life. My wife left me, which I understand completely. My kids, totally estranged. And one day I decided to just take everything I had and do it all at one time. Uppers, downers, inners, outers, everything. I wound up chained to a bed at the Med, left for dead. There's a song in that, I'm sure. And
I'm glad you could joke about it.
Well, that's...
Hey, you're still here, so awesome.
It's been 30 some odd years.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and you know, look, I'm an open book. You know, everybody needs to know everything about how my career developed and what happened. So
I appreciate that.
Well, I mean, if we're going to do this, we're going to do
Yeah.
it. You know, I mean, there's skeletons. There's other stuff you'll never know about, but there's certain things I don't mind talking about. And I come to find out that I'd kind of gotten physical with my wife before I overdosed on all this stuff. So I walk out of the Med and got $20 in my pocket, and there's a cab. I said, take me home. Pull up to my house. My father-in-law is standing on the front porch. And I'm figuring, I'm fixing to get my clock clean. Because I got kids.
Was he holding a shotgun?
No. But, you know, if somebody laid hands on my daughter,
Sure.
Yes.
we'd be dancing.
Yes.
Okay?
Right.
And I walked up on the front porch, and he looked at me, and he put his hand on my shoulder. He said, son, oh, excuse me. He said, I've loved you like a son since the day I met you. He said, but I can't help you. Yeah. The only thing that's going to help you is God. And I mean, that hit me like a ton of bricks. He hugged me and walked away. So I walked into my house, and I sat there, and I go, okay, this is that moment of clarity, you know. So I called an old friend of mine, Phil Black, who was a minister of music at this small church over in Midtown. And we'd been in bands together, and he'd witnessed to me and told me this, that, you know, I'd heard the whole story. I was raised Catholic, so it was a whole different route that we took, you know. So I said, man, I want to come to church tomorrow. He goes, yeah. I said, would you mind coming by to get me? He goes, no, if you're really going to do it, you come. Get yourself there.
Figure it out.
Yeah. If you're serious, I'll see you there.
Okay.
I said, okay. And I was decided. So I called my wife. She was staying at her parents' house. I said, I'm going to church tomorrow. You want to go? And of course, you could have knocked her over with a feather when I said that. And she said, yeah, I'm going. I said, okay, let's go. So I walk into this little church, Community Bible Church on the corner of Cooper and Peabody. Small little place. And, you know, I've been to church over and here, there, and everywhere, and usually it was a bunch of well-dressed people looking down their nose at me because I was different. Well, these folks were just regular folks. They didn't know me from Adam, but they said, hey, man, come on in and have a seat. Well, the sermon that day was, what do you do when you've blown it?
Yeah. That's what you feel like you just did, huh?
Oh, I was knee deep in blown. Yeah. So at the end of the sermon, he gave an altar call. And the pastor, who's still a dear friend of mine, Larry Baskin, he said, Redding, he said, most people walk that aisle. He said, son, you sprinted it like the Olympics. He said, you were there in 3 steps. And I accepted Christ. And at that moment, into an 8 years into an addiction, it was gone. Yeah. I never did a day of rehab. It's gone.
Good for you, man.
You know? And then, of course, at the same time, 2 of the guys that went to that church were Chris Lovell and Charlie Lawing, who owned Strings and Things, the music store. Mm-hmm. And I went to them. I said, I need a job. They go, yeah, we take care of you. So I went to Strings and Things. I worked 6 days a week. I'd have worked 7 if they'd have been open on Sundays, but they weren't. Did 11 months and 29 days to the exact day of it. And what happened there was people realized, okay, he's back. You know, he goes to work every day. It's obvious that he's cleaned his act up. So all of a sudden I started getting calls again for sessions, gigs, and so forth. And finally reached a point where this guy, T.O. Earnhardt, dear friend of mine that also passed away, said, man, you're going to be my band leader. You take care of all the gear in the van and everything, and I'm going to put you to work. I was back in the saddle again. Shortly thereafter, T.O. got killed in a car wreck coming down 61 on Highway 61, coming out of Tunica, where his mom lived. And, I mean, you got to realize cocaine is a serious drug, okay? It's very addictive. And I knew I didn't have the strength to just do, I mean, that was God. You can argue about it all you want. All I can tell you is it happened to me, and I had nothing to do with it. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay. And like I said, that was 1988, 89. I haven't touched it since.
Yeah.
That's been a while.
That was a decade full of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And it had me by the short hairs, man, big time. I mean, I had just, you lose all your self-respect, and you lose the respect of your peers. You got nothing going, you know.
Yeah. But they saw that you were redeeming yourself.
Well, and everything, proof is in your actions.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, pure and simple. You can sit there and say, well, I'm going to a meeting every week and da-da-da-da-da. But when they see that you go to work every day and you're doing your job and there's no talk on the street about, well, he's on that shit again, you know.
You didn't give them any reason to give a bad testimonial about you.
They couldn't.
Right.
It was spotless. I mean, I was in the mode of trying to make up for everything that I just lost.
Yeah.
And the only way I knew how to do that was to get up every day and go work, whatever it was going to be. So T.O. was killed in a car wreck, and his wife came to me and said, T.O. said, if anything ever happens to him, it's your band. And that's where the Memphis All-Stars started.
Okay, I think we did tap into that.
Yeah,
yes.
So anyway, back to a real quick thing to do the Stephen Stills thing. When I quit Black Oak, before I got everything packed up and back to Memphis, my brother calls me from Los Angeles. He's working in the Guitar Center in Hollywood. Goes, man, I got you the gig of gigs. I went, what? He goes, Stephen Stills. I said, shut up. Now, 2 of my biggest idols were Paul McCartney and Stephen Stills. So all of a sudden, I'm fixing to go work with this guy.
Yeah.
I'm in awe, okay? So I get in there, and we're doing some studio stuff and rehearsing, and there's talk of a tour, but the monster reared its head. It's called Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young.
So that hadn't happened yet.
Oh, no, this was way down the line. But
Okay.
they had gotten to a point where Neil Young said he would not do anything unless David got clean.
Oh, that's right. So we're talking later 70s.
We're talking Southern Cross album.
Later 70s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So they had already done their thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everything was planned, but like I said, when that decides to be a thing again, everything else gets put away.
Overrides.
You know.
Yeah.
So I came back to Memphis, and that's when I did the Good Question Justice thing and all that. But, you know, working with Stephen Stills, I mean, you just stand in awe. You're looking across the room going, that's the guy that wrote For What It's Worth.
Yeah.
That's the guy that wrote Sweet Judy Blue. I mean, when I got in there, my butt was so tight you couldn't get a straight pin up with the jackhammer. I'm just...
So it wasn't stretched out yet.
No. Well, it was, but it tightened up when I got into the presence of one of the masters. You know, I mean, God, the guy was just amazing. And so, anyway, I had to put that in there just.
Yeah.
So the whole Memphis All-Star thing started, and I took that for a while and kept it going. Gosh, from like 1989 up until just about a year and a half ago, you know. And
What eventually stopped it?
COVID,
Okay, yeah.
really and truly.
And sorry to the audience if we already talked about that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but
What happened was, I mean, we were the casino band from hell, okay? I mean, we were doing 300, 350
you guys were
shifts.
nonstop.
Oh, I mean,
And you guys would have a day where you do
Two.
Sheridan one day,
Yeah.
shift, and
boom,
then jump
boom.
over
Yeah.
to another
You
place.
see us going across the parking lot with a dolly full of gear going from one casino to the next. It was crazy. But then COVID came, and that kind of just laid that out. And so when COVID stopped, that's when I was like, okay, I got to do something else. And that's when Landslide was born.
But there were no talks in the band saying, hey, when this opens back up.
Well, Robert, who was the lead singer, keyboard player, the blind guy, he got sick and he lost his voice
Oh.
and couldn't even, I mean, he was really weak. Come to find out he was suffering from extreme anemia. So as time went on, he finally got that fixed and he's better now. But, I mean, a band can't last forever in that area. I mean, and we had pretty.
And the casino world is junk anyway.
Well,
compared to when it was. I experienced it in 06, 07, 08.
Yeah.
It was at the end before it all crashed.
Yeah.
And then 7-night gigs turned into Friday, Saturday,
Yeah,
and everything got
Right.
crumbled down. I was able to sneak in just before it ended.
Yeah.
But it's certainly not like it was. I mean, the Horseshoe, I used to do the night shift at the Horseshoe and
Yeah.
play till 5:40 in
Yeah.
the morning.
Oh, yeah. Many times.
You know, and
Yeah.
that doesn't exist anymore.
No. So it was, it was at that point, and I was just like, I mean, I'm not, a lot of people didn't like the casinos, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. Don't do the casinos. I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
Let's put my kids through private schools and college. So I was more than happy to do the casino thing.
Can I want to deviate real
Sure,
quick, and
absolutely.
we can go back.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing a note on our list on here of the Memphis Horns.
Yes.
I just recently saw a post on Facebook that one of those guys passed away.
Andrew Love.
Okay.
And Wayne Jackson both have passed away.
I was hoping you would know the name
Yeah.
because I want this program. We dedicate a lot of time to talking about great musicians that we've lost, and I don't want to overlook that and let
Because
that
it was
family,
recent, right?
Yeah.
No, in my early, like teen years, I remember the first time I ever worked with Wayne Jackson. Wonderful human being. I'm up on stage, I'm playing Hammond organ. I don't know shit from Shinola as far as all these. I mean, I'm just what's going on? So I'm standing behind Wayne, and he keeps sticking fingers up at me, right? And I'm thinking, is he giving me the finger? But what it was, 1, 4, 5. He was calling out numbers, and I didn't even know what a number chart was at that point.
You didn't know what 4 meant.
No, all I know is I think, boy, have I pissed this guy off? And he actually played on the Memphis All-Stars Blues Train album, him and a guy named Jim Horn, who was one of the Wrecking Crew
Nice.
from out in California. We went to Nashville and cut it at
Man, that's a bummer story there. The documentary on the Wrecking Crew. I don't want to deviate too much, but talk about not getting your due.
Well, you got to understand, back then, that's how it was.
Yeah, for anyone that doesn't know, the Wrecking Crew were the LA Cats, right?
They played on anything from the late
Everything.
50s to the early 70s, Grassroots, the Monkees,
Mamas and Papas.
and then they turn around and
everybody.
do a Frank Sinatra
Everyone.
or a soundtrack with Quincy Jones.
Got no credits on their albums.
Right.
And the record labels wanted everyone in the public to think that the Monkees were playing their own things.
And that's really where it came to light, because it was finally revealed somewhere along the line that they weren't playing on their stuff.
Yeah, and the labels didn't want
Well,
that.
they were supposed to be the answer to the Beatles. I actually knew Peter Tork. He lived next door to my mother in Venice Beach, California.
Mm-hmm.
So I met him. I helped him push his Volkswagen Bug down the street one morning to get it started.
And they were all musicians, but it was just, the labels wanted the LA sound.
Well,
It's as simple as that.
here's exactly how it worked. They wanted actors that could kind of play.
Yeah.
Okay. But it was all about economics and quality, because the fact is, if you brought in, say, the Grassroots or the Turtles, it would take them as long to cut one track
Right.
as it would the Wrecking Crew to do the whole album.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were just like boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom.
But no credits, no royalties, none
no.
of that shit.
No, they just got scale, you know. That was it. And I had the pleasure of meeting a few of them because my brother-in-law, Jimmy Griffin, who was in Bread, knew all those guys. Larry Nectar was actually a member of Bread. And I met Carol Kay at a seminar here at Strings and Things, and I met Tommy Tedesco.
Oh,
Great.
he's a character, yeah.
It's the greatest story about Tommy Tedesco you'll ever hear. So I mean, it was a big movie score thing, and everybody's got their charts out, right? And they start the song off, and Tedesco's over there just playing this crazy stuff that's making no sense at all. And they went, stop, stop, stop. Tedesco, what are you doing? And he went, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He was playing the chart
Yeah.
backwards.
Yeah. That's in the documentary.
yeah.
Yeah, he was on all kinds of movie scores.
He was the best reader.
Bonanza, you know the show
yeah.
Bonanza?
Oh, yeah. All
That's
that
him.
stuff. Yeah.
That's-
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Peter Gunn.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, this
It's a
guy.
great documentary. Anyone should check it out.
Yeah.
The Wrecking Crew.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, they did Pet Sounds.
Oh,
Beach
yeah, all the
Boys.
Beach Boys stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, because basically they were put together and became known for the Wrecking Crew when Phil Spector used them for all of his stuff, you know. And Phil Spector would use 2 drummers, 4 guitar players, 2 keyboard players, a horn section. I mean, there would be like 17 or 18 musicians all going down on one track.
So you got to.
So stop and think about that. If you screw it up,
Oh, yeah.
everybody's got. There's no punching in on one track.
So
you know?
Right.
everyone is on point.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think I derailed us.
No, that's
Where
no.
were we
I'll talk
before?
about that.
We were talking about the Memphis Horns.
Yeah.
And I brought that up just because my first experience of even learning who they were, they played on Tortora's second record.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Wild America. I believe the song was Dead Man's Hand, if I'm correct. And then it was just a big
did
horn section.
A
and
big concert at at the
Yeah.
amphitheater, and I played keyboards, and the horns were there.
And we may have talked about this on the last episode, but it's just that was something that I remembered from hearing on a rock album from Memphis, Tennessee. Hearing this big horn section was really cool.
Yeah.
Well, you got to realize, I saw a documentary on VH1. It was the top 100 singles of all time.
Yeah.
They played on 33 of them.
Oh wow, that says
Think
something.
about that. You know, I mean, they'd cross. I mean, they were the guys on Sledgehammer.
Oh,
Peter
really?
Gabriel. That's
Didn't
them.
know that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Played on some Sting thing. I mean, they
Yeah.
played on all kinds of different projects
So cool.
because they had that thing, you know. And it just, I mean, when they played, you knew exactly who it was. And it was basically Andrew and Wayne. Those were the two, a saxophone and trumpet. And they just, phew.
Yeah.
Well, you bring up Tora Tora. It's on the list here that I don't think we covered last week or last episode. So what's your involvement with Tora Tora?
Well, I'm trying to remember exactly. I think from what I remember, I just got a call from their producer going, we need some organ for this band. I said, what band is this? Tora Tora. I said, never heard of them. And so I went in there, and that's when I met Anthony and all the guys. Wonderful cats, man.
Anthony
And,
Quarter.
yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, great music. You
Yeah.
know? And I mean, this stuff was homemade for me. So we immediately all bonded together. You know, it was like, okay, we got an organ guy for a change. And luckily, they did well with it to start with. You know, the second album, I don't know what it is about Memphis artists. You can go down the list. Hit, they get a big thing going, and then it dissipates. It just goes away.
Well, it comes up here all the time.
Yeah.
It's called the Memphis Curse, I think. you know?
Well, it was the time, the years that it was hitting.
Mm-hmm.
The story that we meaning me and Jeff hear a lot is it happened right as grunge hit,
Yeah.
and that's why so many the sophomore album was the last.
But even like Kevin Page, who was, I mean, he was there,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, he was.
I mean, MTV was playing him on heavy rotation, and it was. I mean, I've been a huge fan of his since the first day I heard
too.
"Don't Fence Me Out" or whatever the
Me
name of
too.
it. Yeah, I'm like, okay, this is going to happen, and then it didn't happen.
The flannel took over, bro.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and the same thing, Tora was on huge heavy rotation on MTV. And I told this to John Patterson when we interviewed him. My opinion is the second album, Wild America, was just I thought it was way better than Surprise Attack, just from a production
I think they
standpoint.
changed producers at that point.
And it was so good. And you're right. I mean, it was just at the end of the 80s, and it was just a bad time. And
It was.
Thank you, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, and Stone Temple Pilots.
See, and that's when I turned the radio off.
Yeah.
I mean, that whole thing just did not resonate with me, but I knew what was happening because in the 60 years I've been doing this, it's a cycle, and it happens time and time again.
And it's cycled away, and the next thing comes.
You break it down to its most common denominator,
Right.
and then it gets shinier, more polished,
watered down,
and cookie cutter. You know, everything's going to sound the same, and we're kind of at that point again right now.
Yes.
You know, so something new is going to come along.
AI is next.
Oh God, don't even say
Greg,
that. Yeah, that scares me.
Be
to
prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Be prepared for that. For real.
I'm just glad I'm at the end of my career, so I don't have. I mean, I'll be honest with you. If I was starting today, I don't even know that I would choose music as a profession.
It's scary as hell.
Yeah.
You can't make a living at it. You
Nope.
can't sell records anymore.
Nope.
Yeah. No, that's it's all different.
Yeah.
The AI thing
Oh
is
man.
terrifying,
Yeah.
and it is so sophisticated you won't even know. And labels are going to start making their own AI music. And in fact, I don't know all the details on it, but there is a story out there where the 3 major labels right now
Yeah, that's it.
are suing this company. I can't remember the name of it, but the company makes AI music. But you feed the AI contemporary music, right? So
Make me something like that.
It learns.
So the labels are suing them
Good.
not to protect the artists because
them.
they're going to start doing it their way
Well, see,
and making AI with their licensed music.
why do you think all these major artists are selling their catalogs?
Yeah.
Take the money now.
It ain't gonna. They're not gonna generate any more money from record sales. So all of a sudden, somebody offers. I think Queen just got a $1 billion
Sure.
deal. And do we take that or risk?
Yeah.
And Bob Dylan, you would think that's a man that would never
Ever.
And
Exactly.
And he sold it all for what, $500 million?
And why
Something like
not?
that? Yeah.
Why not? I mean, if you're smart and if you got any foresight at all, you're going to see that there's no future down the road to generate.
Bruce Springsteen did
Exactly.
it.
You know.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was offered $17.50 for mine.
Did you take the money?
I'm in negotiations. If we can get it up to 18, I'm in, man.
But yeah, the AI stuff, and some of our friends, you know, Sean Few,
Yeah.
and now Josh Haynes is jumping in on the AI stuff. There's little apps that you can just make music with, and it's fun, and we are having fun with it. But it is pretty terrifying that you can a record label can just feed radio stations this new synthetic music, in essence, and there you go. And then I always joke, at some point, the cover bands are going to start playing and covering AI songs.
Yeah.
It's coming.
And it's so disheartening because, like I said earlier, I mean, I don't even know that I would choose music as a career anymore
Yeah.
because now the kids, and I say kids because they're way younger than me that I've gotten Landslide, they're so tech savvy as far as the media and all that stuff. That's why we're making the things we're making as far as drawing crowds because they know how to hit all these
Sure.
Market
Facebook and
promote.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. I know nothing about that. Okay. And that's the way it's going to be.
But you're the legend in the band.
I'm now known as the founding grandfather of Landslide. And I wear that with pride. I mean, I'll be honest with you, you know, to have these young major league players. I mean, Dave Davy Smith, he's almost as old as I am.
Yeah.
But, you know, the two girls out front, I mean, Savoy and Sarah,
Yeah,
I mean, they're amazing.
They
you know?
are amazing.
Yeah.
And that's what's drawn to. I mean, nobody's coming to see my tired ass. Okay. In fact, I had a booking agent tell me several years ago. He said, "Man, if you want to stay relevant at your age, put on a hat and go sit in the back and call the tunes." And that's basically what I do now. Is I play keyboards in the back and I'll play a little guitar. But I mean, I get a little bit more out front. But
Yeah, you do. I was gonna say when I saw you at Neil's, when it was you had your moments, man, you got right up front.
yeah,
man.
but then I get out of the way because you don't want to look at this for very long. It's just
Well,
like,
Davey Smith was giving you the hairy eyeball. Like you're too far up, man.
well, you know how he is. You know, he was probably not properly moisturized at the moment. It was
I would say you were that night. You looked pretty shiny.
Yeah. Mine comes natural just from the fact that nothing seals anymore.
So let's you know we're nearing the end of the sequel here. But let's stay on Landslide because that's what's going on
current.
right now. So,
Well, first of all,
how,
let me get into as the thing calmed down with the All Stars and everything, and I'm sitting at home because this is really for the last 9.5 years. This has been the highlight of my life, and I was like, I got to find something to do. And a friend of mine said, "Man, have you ever thought about teaching?"
That's right, the School of Rock.
And I said,
connection.
"Well, no." I said, "No, I've never given a lesson in my life." He said, "Well, I'm working at the School of Rock, and it's pretty kind of cool." I said, "Okay." So I filled out an application online. The guy calls me up and says, "Come talk to me," and they hired me.
Yeah.
And the first day that I did a lesson, I was totally unprepared. I was supposed to be a substitute guitar teacher, and they called me and said, "Our keyboard teacher just quit. You're up tomorrow. You got 8 students." I'm like, "Okay." Here we go. But it turned, my wife said, "You ain't got the patience to do this, man. These kids are going to drive you crazy." And I said, "Yeah, you're probably right, but let's give it a shot because I'm tired of sitting at home waiting for something to happen." So I go in there. It was a match made in heaven. You know, when your heart tells you you're doing the right thing, you feel that thing about it. And my first lesson, I knew exactly this is what I'm supposed to do. And 9.5 years. And I've seen some amazing success stories. I've seen kids that with no self-confidence turn into rock animals. Got one little thing going on right now, and y'all may want to look at these two, Isabella and Sebastian.
Okay.
All right? It's a little duo. She's the singer, lyricist. Sebastian, who's the kid I think may have talked about him earlier, he's got 15 college credits from Berkeley, and he's only 12 years old.
Wow.
All right, this kid is a phenomenal.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Look, when I first met him, he was 7 years old, and he was playing drums at one of the shows at the School of Rock in Memphis. And after the first rehearsal, I said, I went and met his dad. I said, "We're playing at Huey's this weekend. Here's about 5 songs. If he wants to learn those and come sit in, bring him on." And so he became a part of the Memphis All-Stars.
Okay.
Because our whole, hey, look, we got youth. We need to take this youth and show it how it works in the real world,
Right.
Well, that little rascal got on stage. It was so funny because all the guys in the band, when he got up, they were all looking at me like,
What are you doing?
Yeah. We got about 4 measures into the first song, which was September by Earth, Wind, and Fire. And every one of them at the same time went, "Damn." I said, "I told you, man." So Sebastian has been kind of our kid,
Mm-hmm.
But look it up on YouTube or Facebook, any of that stuff. Isabella and Sebastian. That second, they've already got 220,000 streams.
Wow.
Damn.
Okay. That's our future. Okay.
Yeah.
And the guy that helped engineer the thing, they did it over at Young Street Studios. And Justin Timberlake's guitar player, Elliot, was their engineer and part producer on the thing. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff is just, when I first started, I called his dad and said, "I smell money." Y'all, and they're fixing to put a band together and start doing it,
That's great. And did you have any experience giving them lessons specifically?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I taught Sebastian. In fact, he was auditioning for a role in Tucson, Utah, for the Broadway presentation of School of Rock the musical, and he wasn't real sure how the guitar parts work, so I sat down and worked with him on that before he went out there. While he was there, Wes Anderson, movie producer, director guy, saw him. He's in Asteroid City, the movie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Did he land the Broadway gig?
Oh, yeah. 2 leading roles, drums and guitar.
Nice.
That's awesome. Well, you have a big hand in that, don't you? That success story must make you feel good.
It's like a proud papa, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not why it happened. I'm just one of the people
Right.
that said, "Come on, let me show you the quickest way to get better at this,"
Right. Yeah.
He was going to do it regardless. I was just blessed that I got to be a part of it, and I can say I knew this kid, when he was 7.
And he's going to be like, "Who's that old guy?"
No, I already told him. I said, "When you win your first Grammy, if I don't hear a word of thanks and my name mentioned, we're going to have a conversation."
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, to Landslide, we all mentioned this last episode. This is when you fire everything up with everybody.
Yeah.
You literally went down the hallway.
Yeah.
You want to join? You want to be?
Well, I called Sarah on the way in from work. What happened is I had a conversation with Richard Butler out at Neil's.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Rich," and Richard and I have been friends forever and ever. We don't want to admit how long we've been friends, but we've been friends a very long time. I said, "Man, All Stars are done. What can I do?" He went, tribute bands are really hot right now. And Christina just passed away. So I'm thinking, what about a Fleetwood Mac tribute band? He goes, you put one of those together that's right, you will get work.
Yeah.
I said, okay. So the very next day, I'm driving from University of Memphis area out to Germantown. I hit Sarah up. Hey, Sarah, you want to be in a Fleetwood Mac tribute band? She goes, Stevie Nicks is my idol. I'm in. Okay, got that one. Walked into the school. Savoya is behind the front desk. She's on the phone with somebody. And I'm just kind of standing there. She goes, do you need something? I said, whenever you get a minute, I want to ask you a question. She goes, hang on a second. She goes, what do you need? I said, you want to be in a Fleetwood Mac tribute band? She goes, I'll call you right back. I said, yes. I told her the deal. I said, okay, you're in. The next door on the right was Dylan Gattuso, who's our original bass player. I said, you want to be in a Fleetwood? He said, yes. Whatever you're doing, I want to be in it. Robert Allen Parker was the next door. Yes, I'm in. Jeff Birch was down the hall. I mean, it happened that fast. But by the time I walked from the front door to the back door, the band was formed.
Mm-hmm. And now you guys are killing it.
And it's been that way since, I mean, there was no pre-build. It was just like, okay, we're going to play Neil's on January the 7th, a year and a half ago. And they turned away hundreds of people, and the fire marshal came out because we were overcrowded. And I'm thinking to myself, is this a fluke?
Yeah.
And it wasn't. I mean, every time, we play Lafayette's once a month, and you have to book a table a month in advance to come in and see us, you know.
And you just added Neshoba, correct?
Yeah.
As you walked in today, you played there last night. As we record this on September 1st.
Packed to the walls. Cool. Wonderful place. Gosh, I mean, Memphis needs more venues like this.
And they're coming. You got Lucky Dog.
Well, you know, it's going to have to come back to live music because there's not going to be any.
Yeah.
You know, you want to hear a song, you pull up YouTube. You know, you're not going to buy the record, and I hate that. But all my stuff's in there, you know.
Yeah. We've already talked about in the show on this show. I just love the fact that venues are being built around live music rather than just opening a bar and going, hey, let's stick a band over here.
Yeah. I mean,
real stages.
It's set up. The sound system is amazing. The staff and crew that run it are amazing. I mean, we walked in there cold, no sound check, and these guys had it down, you know. And we're not an easy band to mix. There's a whole lot of stuff going on, you know.
So what's the future look like? You guys are going to continue to, I mean, you guys probably average what, 2 to 3 a month?
Yeah, see, and that ain't enough, okay? But now we did get this guy that just approached us. He's a major talent buyer. And he's talking about getting us some really big money convention.
That's what's up.
Yeah. You know, like
the corporate stuff.
$5,000 to $10,000 a night.
That's what you need.
That's almost famous kind of.
Yeah.
You know, when you say that's not enough, it really is. There's a fine line there. You don't want to play too often where people no longer want to come see you.
That's the thing about
and you don't want to play too little where people are really just craving get out here. So you got to find that happy.
That's why Almost Famous, they've built themselves up in a great place where so much private and corporate stuff when they do a public show. Yeah. Boom.
People want to see
People want to go.
Well, see, I have a guilty pleasure that I do besides Landslide. I am now the first call keyboard and guitar player for Free World.
Okay.
And I'm a funk player, okay? As much as I love Fleetwood Mac, ain't a lot of funk in the Mac, okay? It's pretty much straight ahead.
No funk in the Mac.
No funk in the Mac. I mean, there ain't no garlic, it's just what it is. So, playing with Richard Cushing, what a great guy, okay? I mean, if the best, I've been a band leader all my life. I pale in comparison. Richard Cushing is the most unbelievable band leader I've ever met in my life. If I was to ever give a course in band leading 101, he would be the template.
Take notes, Jeff.
And that's besides.
You just gave me the hairy eyeball. That was awesome.
That's besides being a massive musician, and he can play sitar, so right away he's got my respect.
Hey, yeah.
But, you know, working with
That's
Richard.
Different.
For sure.
You know, and the thing was, I mean, I got called in to do keyboards, and keyboards, I was still getting my sea legs back because I took about a 30-year hiatus from playing keyboards because after my third B3 burned up, which we talked about in the earlier.
That's right. We did talk about that.
And plus being in a band with a guy like Robert Claiborne who plays all the keyboards you would ever need, my chops are gone. I mean, they weren't down; they were gone. You know, so all of a sudden, I'm playing this band with this monster horn section and all killer players, and I'm just trying to sit there quietly and figure out what can I do to not piss anybody off, And they liked it, So I get a call, but my happy place, I got to do it once so far, is to play guitar in that band. Oh, me and Richard had so much fun. We were just having a blast, man.
So how often do they play?
Richard works 7 days a week, one way or another.
The Free World Band, or him also doing solo stuff? It's
either a trio or a duo, and then on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, it's Friday and Saturday at Rum Boogie, Sunday at Blue City Cafe. They've been there every Sunday night since like 1991.
Wow.
And I mean, it's a great band.
So you're just fill-in guy.
Yeah.
Right
Look,
now.
what happens if one of the two guys can't make it? He'll call me up and go, "Need you for so and so." I got about 3 or 4 dates on the books coming up, and except for the fact that it's on Beale Street and I don't have a flak jacket, I'm still, But no, working with Richard. Plus, we do the church gig together too. He was gracious enough to actually give me a shot to get in there and do that. And I love the guy, man. He's just I can't express the respect I have for that man, both as a businessman and as a musician. He's top shelf all the way across the world, man.
Yeah.
You owe me money, Richard.
Man, a lot of people owe you money, unfortunately, from back in the day.
Unfortunately, I owe a lot of people money.
Well, damn, dude. Want to do a third one? No, just kidding.
No, I think we pretty much covered everything at this point in time.
It's just cool meeting people like yourself that have such a deep history.
Well, it's like this. You won't find a person more proud to be a Memphis musician than I am.
Yeah.
As they always say, Memphis is not a great place to be, but it's a great place to be from.
Yeah.
That's how I got the gig with Stephen Stills. It wasn't because he had heard me play. It was just the fact that my brother said, "Well, he's from Memphis and he was signed to Stax for 6 years. Send him."
Right. Yeah, the reputation.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that, here's the deal.
That looks really good on a resume.
And it will open the door.
Yeah.
And allow you to go in and show your stuff. Now, whether or not you cut the mustard, that's a whole nother. Don't pun on words that cut the mustard hot dogs. But but it's true. I mean, being a Memphis musician opens a lot of doors. And in Europe, my God, we're gods over there.
Yeah.
It was funny because when the Stax Volt Review went to Europe, that whole thing with Otis Redding and everything, and Wayne and I talked about it. He said, "Man, we're on stage and I look out and the frickin' Beatles are in the front row watching us going crazy." And they realized we're something,
Yeah.
We're actually something, because in Memphis, they're nothing,
Well, I'm a musician from Maine. Imagine how little my phone is ringing. All right? No, but we're not going to say goodbye yet, Greg.
Okay.
But we're going to thank our audience real quick.
Thank you, audience.
As always, when you make it to this point, good on you. Congratulations. I mean, we're giving you a round of applause. If you're interested in following us, you can go to Facebook and Instagram. Both are at The Rhythm Section Pod. therhythmsectionpod.com is the place to go.
Yeah, and thanks to the band sponsors. We love you guys. Can't do it without you. Remember to join us for the exclusive Sunday replay. That's really cool that you get to see these interviews come back around a second time. We remove the intro so that you don't have to listen to me and Derek do our thing.
Oh, man.
And they're everywhere you find streaming, just like everything else we do.
And then me and Jeff want to keep these lights on. So if you want to help donate to the cause, please do. We're on Venmo and CashApp.
You don't want us to resort to stripping. I promise.
I got to go to a hog slaughtering to get that out of my mind.
So that'll be on Patreon. I don't even know where to go from there. You know what's up. The Rhythm Section Pod 2022 at gmail.com. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, Mr. Greg Redding. Thanks for doing this twice.
Hey, man, I enjoyed it.
It's been a pleasure, and we really enjoy your playing and what you do.
Well,
and Landslide's awesome, and look forward to seeing y'all again very soon.
Yep.
So, we'll be at Neil's Saturday night.
Sounds good.
Well, by the time this comes out, it will be last Saturday.
We were at Neil's in September.
Go to Facebook. It's Landslide, a Memphis tribute to Fleetwood Mac.
Right.
Check it out. Follow that
There's
page.
also a webpage now called landslide.memphis.
There you go.
I'm glad we mentioned that in minute 60. So I'll be sure to put that in the intro for us. But All right. Time to go, everyone. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see y'all next time.
Get out and see a band. Bye.
Yeah, see a band.
Yeah.